Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and welcome to an emergency video on a new system that has just been discovered on the PTR, that's just been pushed to the PTR, which is upgrading gear from 441 or 444 to 447 with the new Myth track in patch 10.1.5. So first of all, this is all just data mine stuff, or not data mine, but this is PTR stuff. There's not been a post as of yet. I guess, okay, let me check. Have they made a post about it yet? No, they haven't made a post about it yet. So there are a lot of questions that we don't actually know the answer to, but that I will speculate on what I think the answers are likely to be in this video. So the TLDR is that any item that drops at base 441 or 444 looks like it's dropping on this Myth track instead. The upgrade cost doesn't look to be too bad either. It's a pretty low Flightstone cost, and it looks like it only costs one Aspect Crest for each of these upgrade steps as well, which is pretty generous. When I was proposing the system, I was saying, you know, this could be multiple Aspect Crests and this could still be fine, but this only one per for each of these steps. Pretty cheap, of course, you know, subject to change, and a nice low Flightstone cost. So Kazara, Amalgamation, Zakali Assault, Forgotten Experiments, and Rashok gear drops at into this Myth track. Anything from Zaskaran onwards is already either on Myth 3 out of 3 or even above the Mythic thing as well, if it's like on 450 or higher. Also, M+ Great Vault gear from 16 to 19 is also on the Myth track, which means it's no longer bad to do those key levels. And in fact, farming Worm's Crest from 16s and filling your Great Vault with 16s is now going to be fine, because you can just, like, if you need a bunch of Worm's Crests and you have extra Aspect Crest, that can now be worth doing. That can be like fine on characters, and just doing some random 19s and 18s, like, it's no longer like a sad thing to see as like a good 444 or 441 from your Great Vault now. It will still cost you some extra Aspect Crests, so 20s are still the best thing to be running if you can, but farming 16s, farming 17s, all that kind of stuff is very, very much now back on the table. And I think the 16 and 17 sweet spots have definitely gotten really powerful with this as well. The other change that's coming here is Heroic Raid. So the very rare items from the last few bosses of Heroic are also going to be dropping 7 eye levels higher. Well, they drop 7 eye levels higher, which means they can go up, I guess, 3 eye levels higher, right? Because they drop at 444 from these bosses, right? The heroic versions of these loot drop at 444. So they used to drop just above the upgrade track, and now they're going to drop at Myth 2 out of 3. So they can go up to 447. So what does this mean for all these different things? Well, first of all, we already talked about what it means for farming keys. Farming the 16 17s has gotten better. Farming 20s has gotten a little bit less important, but is still the best thing to be doing in theory. Raid, Mythic Raid. First few bosses of Mythic are now a valuable run to do. Kazara, Amalgamation, Zakali Assault gear is now worthwhile. So, for instance, in my guild, people had been saying, hey, let's go do first few bosses on alts, and I've been saying there's no point, you can get the exact same gear from Heroic. That's no longer true. Now you can get better gear from Mythic, so that value has gone up. The first few bosses has gone up, either for alts or for guilds that are able to potentially do them. You know, an AOTC guild that can maybe kill the first few on Mythic, now there is incentive to do so. The Heroic side of things, it's not that different, honestly. Like, Voice of the Silent Star Heroic being 447 instead of 444, it's not really a big deal. It's still a lot worse than the Mythic one. It's still better than the normal one. It's just like it's moved a little bit closer towards the Mythic one, but it's still closer to the normal eye level than it is to the Mythic eye level off of these items. So I don't think this change really changes what you would do at all. This is probably, but not confirmed, going to be retroactive as well. So right now on PTR, existing items have had this applied to them. And we also have some precedent for this happening as well, where existing crafted items got their eye level bumped in 10.1. So my guess, I would guess with like 95% confidence, my guess is that old items will be retroactively added to this track that dropped before the patch came out. But again, that's unconfirmed, so we'll see when the post actually comes out explaining this. By the time this video's out, maybe already that post is out as well, so you can go double check. check the pinned comments and stuff, or the top comments, to see if there's been any important clarifications from Blizzard, because this is just speculation, but my guess is that that's going to be true, which means that starting right now, if you haven't opened your Great Vaults yet, you can start thinking about if this changes things, if this changes what you're going to want to select, the fact that items can upgrade to 447 if they're on this track. Something like an amalgamation, pants that's not better than crafted pants. Now it might be as good or better than crafted pants. Or, of course, the catalyzing options also have gone up with this as well. Items can be catalyzed from these few bosses at 447 now. So a lot of implications for this, but very little huge structural changes. The main structural change is that just doing 16 or 17 farm groups, I think, is going to be is going to take a little spike in popularity as this change gets implemented, or in the lead up to it, as people are anticipating these Great Vault items having a little bit more value than they used to. So overall, pretty exciting change here. I'm a big fan of this. This is something that I was suggesting for a while, so hope that this works well. Hope this change is good. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Shout out to Twitch chat for being behaved while I emergency recorded this in the middle of the stream as well. Been good job, everybody. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.